Good. So this week we're doing mission trip stuff, and my family, the Krugers, got to go as a family for the first time for this mission trip. And we're going to talk a little bit about it. But first, I want to ask you guys, do you guys ever want to have a bigger playroom or a bigger bedroom or a bigger house? Yeah? What about in the audience? We always want something more, something bigger? What about shoes? You think you need more shoes? No? What about I have too many chores. I don't want to do that. I want more time to play. Are those ever things that we have thought about? Any of us? I think of those things. Every one of us has probably thought about one of those, wanting something more, something bigger, something better. Well, I can tell you on this trip, myself and then Izzy and Isaac helped multiple days. I help with VBS. Now, have any of you been to VBS before? Yeah. Tell me, what is your experience with VBS? Do you go to a place or does someone come to you? You usually go to a place. Vacation Bible School, my other side. So we usually go to a place. That's what I did when I was a kid. We'd go to a place and learn about Jesus, learn stories, sing songs. Well, when we went down to Mexico, we weren't doing that. We didn't have a place for them to come to, and we didn't know who all would come. So what we did is we walked to houses and met kids. And the first day we found out that there was a split system for school, that half of them went to school in the morning and half of them went to school in the afternoon because there weren't enough teachers. So we went from thinking about doing it as a half day to a full day thing. And so in the morning, we went to somewhere between 8 and 9 houses, and in the afternoon, 9 to 10 houses. And we did the same thing at each house. We showed them gave them a paper with a story about Jesus in Spanish. We gave them a little paper memory verse for them to try and memorize. We made a craft, or had a craft that they could make, and then we sang songs. And I have to say, the biggest thing that they loved the songs. They did like everything else too, but songs just every day they liked. And I have some pictures up here. This is the very first day we went. This is up a little bit on a hill, and 3 of the kids. And look behind the kids. Is that a very big house? Yes, it is. I want you to tell me how many people you think would sleep in that home. Yeah, you're good. So this home, they told us, we found out the last day that in this one, there were 4 kids and a mom that slept in that house every day. And just right next to it, I don't have a picture, is another one just like that that had 6 people in it. There's another house. Now, I can't tell you, this was something went by, but just looking at it, is that something that you want to live in? No. No, but that's what they have to live in. That's what they have. And as they get money, they can build bigger houses. The next picture. So this again shows, this is at that same house from the very first one. I want you to look at the little boy. It's kind of cut off, but look at his feet. What does he have on his feet? Does he have any shoes? Can you tell that ground? There's rocky ground. And I can tell you, we had to go up a hill to get to this house. And this boy was running all around town, up and down that hill, not complaining. If I would step on that, I'd be, it doesn't feel good. Now, his feet got used to it, but he was a happy boy, and his name Jesus. He would follow us all around. And you see what he's holding up? Yeah, the maracas. He loved to have those maracas when we got to sing songs. Towards the end, we are going to sing one of the songs that we sang. The next picture, again, shows a variety of kids. And I want you to know the one sitting down, again, they don't have any shoes on their feet. And a lot of the kids that went to school had shoes. Some that didn't. still had some shoes, but there were a lot that didn't have shoes. And how many of you have just one pair of shoes? Many of us here have more than one pair of shoes, right? We have a lot in this country. Now, this picture also, I don't have a pointer, but in the far back, a little bit to the right, you can see a dark pot. That is a little kitchen at this house. This is a house of someone. Well, you go forward one picture and then come back. This was Felipe's house, and we met this family the first day. And Felipe had just come back from the hospital, and throughout the days, we learned his story that he had been on dialysis. He had kidney failure, and he had just come back from the hospital this day. And they asked for prayer, and they asked to sing extra songs. The adults loved the songs that we sang. Go back to the picture before this now. The girl that's sitting down with the little girl, the baby is Isabel. I unfortunately never got the older girl's name because she was regularly in school. But on Thursday when we went, Felipe wasn't there. And these kids were there. The two in the middle are friends, but the ones on each side are Felipe's grandkids. And they told us a story with their mom. Their mom is Guadalupe, and she's out of the picture because she's working making tamales. And that back in the back where you can see there's a pot, they're boiling. The tamales are what they're able to make a living. They sell them every day over by a supermarket. But the story went that early that morning at 5 a.m., Felipe had woken up and wasn't feeling good. So his wife, their grandma, and their mom had to take him to the hospital. So that left these kids home alone. So guess who took care of them? The 9-year-old girl took care of the kids. And what else did she do that day? Yeah. So Isaac was there and listened to this. So this girl is 9 going on 10. Isaac, how old are you? How old are you? You're 9. How old are you? Okay. So your age, she was left at home to take care of the 2 younger kids. And I have to say, the boy was really good at helping, but she did all the laundry for them. And she helped to take care of getting the food so that when her mom was able to return later in the day, they could still have that to be able to sell. Now, for Felipe, there was a miracle that day because he went to the hospital and was told he had to go to another hospital further away and they needed an ambulance. But the ambulance wasn't going to be there till late that afternoon or evening because there was one main one and it wasn't scheduled to come. But in the process, somehow another ambulance had to come and drop someone off, and they were able to get to go much earlier so that this girl's mom, who was Guadalupe, could come and help with the food and be able to sell for that day. Now, through this story, when I heard all of this, there was miracles for Felipe, but I also thought about these little kids. In our culture here, do many of us do our laundry at 8 and 9 and help to make food and all that? No, we don't, but we could, right? We could be willing. Also, do we complain about things? We don't have a big enough bed or a big enough house, a big enough toy room. No, huh? So when we look at these pictures, we learned and I had seen this before, but as a family, we learned about how blessed we are in this culture. Now, in the end, again, these kids love these songs, so we're going to end with a song. Every day we had this. This went through 5 days of VBS, going to at least 18 to 20 houses, depending on the day. And we'd sing these songs over and over. We are going to sing Cristo Amo Niños. And so you'll know the song kind of here, and I will have anyone who can help sing if they want. I'm gonna let the kids start this in just a moment. But what I can say is the kids again over there loved having all of these different things, and we didn't have all of this, but we had littler ones. If anyone else, yeah, okay. So Izzy, I need your help to start out. And I'll hold it this way. Okay. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Cristo ama niños como yo, yo, yo. Cristo ama niños como yo, yo, yo. Niños como yo, ama El Salvador. Cristo ama niños como yo, yo, yo. Cristo ama grandes como tú, tú, tú. Cristo ama grandes como tú, tú, tú. Grandes como tú, ama El Salvador. Cesar ama grandes como tú, tú, tú. Sandy's pointing to everyone else for the lesson. So again, this was a wonderful experience for all. And what I do want you kids to remember is that we are blessed and that Jesus loves you no matter where you live or what you do, okay?
While they're making their way up, we're happy for the opportunity to come and talk to you about your mission trip. Did you know this was your mission trip? It's not our mission trip. This was your mission trip. Why? Because you supported us. You supported this group. And we are very grateful to you. And I just want to ask a question. Did anybody out here remember to pray for us while we were gone? Oh, yes, there's some hands. No wonder we all got back safe and sound. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We were counting on your prayers and we really appreciate them. We couldn't have done this trip without your help. Your donations are what helped some of this to happen, and we are very grateful for that. And it's difficult for a church to donate to a mission trip when we're trying to build a church bin and also when we're trying to make our school work. So we are just grateful for all of your help. So here we go, and let's see what we can do. And everybody find a spot. Are we missing a chair? We counted twice. He's got a stool. All right. I think that's my fault because I don't know how to count very well. Evidently, I didn't know how many team members we had, I guess. Well, wait a minute and we'll get organized. For the team members, we're trying something new, trying to save your necks this year, at least for those that sit on this side. What's on the screen is going to be here so that you have some idea of what's happening because they have not seen the slides, fortunately. That's a good thing because some of them might have been deleted. You just don't know. All right, so here we go. What do I have to aim at? That didn't work. That didn't work. I must be going the wrong way, I suppose. Probably not, Pastor. Can you follow, show us what to do? Oh. Oh, yeah. Looky here. All right, we are on our way. I don't promise you we're going to be out of here at 12:15 today, but we will try. We are on our way, and as soon as we got to where we were going to be staying, the mission president was there to meet us and the mission treasurer, and you can see him keeps wanting to default over to Darayl. I've changed it 4 times, I think, but Darayl is not the mission treasurer. Anyways. So he wanted a picture of our group and he came to say good morning and to good afternoon and to welcome us.
Keep the microphone in front of you.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. So he wanted to come and tell us hello, and he wanted to thank us for coming because he wasn't going to be there later. And so we were grateful to meet him. He took the picture, so he's not in it, but the mission treasurer then was there in the picture. So right on the back side of this, looky there, I call it the Loreto Hilton, and this is where we stayed. And we did okay there. It was a fine place for us, and you'll hear a little bit more about that later. Before we got started a year ago, less than a year ago, this is how the church looked. We had left it something like that. The blocks were up, but it hadn't been, there was no stucco or anything on it. So I said, you know, if we're going to go down and paint, at least we need to have that church stuccoed. So because of some donations from here and some help from others, we were able then to get that started. And so they got it all stuccoed with us before we came. They had done some of the electrical work, and that was wonderful because that was going to make it easy for Sherm. I'm sorry Sherm is not here today. He had a family obligation, felt bad to not be here, and we sure do miss Sherm today. He was an integral part of our team because what happened was before we got here, the vandals had broken in and had taken out a lot of the electrical stuff. So our job all of a sudden grew a lot. The first thing we saw when we got there was this door. The last picture I had was there was no door. The gentleman there on your right is the man that made the door. You don't go to Home Depot down there and order a door. No, they have to come and measure, and then they go home and make the door. He lived about 2.5, 3 hours away. And he made the door, and the day before we got there and that day he was finishing it up. And isn't that a beautiful door that he constructed? So we went inside, looked around, and got a picture of all of us. And guess what? Instantly we became a team. We had 25 people in our team. They were from all over. Don't want to miss out. Some were from Walla Walla, Milton, Freewater, Oregon, Touche, Weston, Oregon, Moses Lake, and even Ephrata. So that was, you know that. So this was a challenge for this trip. Oh yes, we had Port Angeles. Thank you. Yes, that was my daughter. I left her out. Don't tell her, please. Nobody tell her. This was the largest group we've had in many years, and it was also the smallest space we had to work in. So we needed to become a team, and instantly we were now a team and had to figure out how we were going to work so many people in a small space. All right, so here we are looking around. So we made 6 teams. He's right. How would we ever put a ceiling in here? They wanted a ceiling in there. The mission president said our churches down there need to look nice. They need to be attractive so people will want to come to them. Why don't our churches grow? Who would want to go to a church that looked like that in the beginning, right? And he said, we're not going to build any new churches until we get all of our churches representative of our Christian Seventh-day Adventist thing. These are the walls. We got those all stuccoed up, and they were ready to be painted, and there was a lot to paint. And we got windows in too. You can, we paid for those windows that you see, very nice windows. Everything has to have bars on them. Okay, so then where you see Jim standing up there, that's where they said they want to build a tiny house. Why do you want to build a tiny house up there? So that they won't break in again and steal whatever is inside. How are we going to do that? We didn't know. And that's what it looks like up on top. That's all they had for us. And Jim and the rest of the crew had to figure out what they were going to do. So there were 4 guys that worked on that. So this is what we had to do with 25 people. We had to get all the electric done. We had to do the plumbing. We had to get a ceiling in. We had to hang a lot of lights in all the classrooms. There was only 2 classrooms upstairs. Get ready with that. We had to hang fans, food service. You know, I don't know, but this group of people, if they don't eat for 3 days, they don't want to work. And so Asia was the one that kept everybody.
5 hours.
5 hours.
Yeah, okay, it's not 3 days. But we needed a lot of painting done. We needed to do the VBS, the tiny house. We needed to tile the classrooms and the bathroom. We had a glasses ministry. reading glasses. We needed to make neighborhood bags. We needed somebody to get us around when the cars were all busy elsewhere and we need somebody to go to the store. That was a lot to do. Asia, where are you? Because Asia is the one that got us going every day. Tell us. Yes, give her a hand.
Well, it was my privilege to cook for this group of 25 people. I think, like Sandy said, it was the largest group. And every trip, every mission trip is truly an adventure. There has not been two places in all these years. I looked it up. 2005 was our first trip, and that was really a cooking adventure. And the second one was as well, but they all are different. We've been in Loretto 3 times. Every time was different as far as where I cooked, how I cooked, or whatever. But you know, God is always awesome. And as you hear the stories of all the members of the team, you'll understand how God has our back on a mission trip and here at home as well, in the building and finishing of our church. But God always provided enough help for me. Deanna was one of my help team. There was another gal from College Place named Lynette. She and I actually went to WABA together one year. And God blessed us with whatever we needed, whenever we needed it. People just showed up when we felt like we couldn't get things done. And you see the people here, most of them showed up at different times. I didn't ask them to, but they were there. And I'm just so thankful that God always has our back and kept us well as well. No one got sick from my cooking that I knew of, unless they kept it quiet. So anyway, I'm just very thankful for each one that's here. And for those of you that supported us financially and sending things, and I thank you so much. And if you can, we should have put a t-shirt right out here, because Stephanie's standout, maybe every year nice and tall. There is this, maybe the first year that we actually have a Bible verse on our t-shirt. I put our first t-shirt out there on display in the foyer. It's much more simple, but this one has a Bible verse on it. Oh, we're seeing my kitchen. Oh, I tell you, I should have had my phone and kept track of the steps, because there was a back room and that's where the stove was. Then I had to run out of that room out to the front and serve the food on the bar with all the miscellaneous beverages behind on the shelf. Quite interesting. Oh, I should mention one thing, one little experience. I was in the back room where the stove was, and a man came in and put something in the microwave. I had no idea who he was. And then he came out to the front, and I went out front with something, and he's standing on the outside of the bar, which it was a bar, and he said to me, looking up on the wall behind, he said, "How do you deal with all those gods?" And I looked at him and I looked at the wall, and all these different heads looked kind of scary. I didn't know exactly what he meant, but I said, "There's only one true God." And he looked at me and he off and he said, "I feel sorry for you." Well, I kind of feel sorry for him, and I wish that I could have had an interaction again with him to share something else, a love letter from Jesus, maybe. So anyway, it was a real adventure, and I think that Isaac and Izzy are going to share about our verse today.
Today's scripture is from Isaiah chapter 6, verse 8. Here am I, send me.
Thank you, Isaac. Asia, I heard that people were going to supposedly come in and get your oven going for you, and nobody would ever do that. And I didn't know why. And then tell me what happened here real quick, like kind of running short on.
All I can say is 3 strikes and we might be out. So I don't think we're going to have anybody to light an oven again, because first we had Chris Larsen try in La Paz, and he burned his arm quite seriously. And this last time we almost did Donna Larsen. I don't remember her married name, But she tried hard to light that thing and found that there was actually a loose something at the back where the gas hooked into the wall. And henceforth, of course, she had to video it, so it obviously was not that terribly serious, but always thankful when God protects us, even when we try to blow up their children.
I don't think I want to take any more of my children on another trip. All right, so here is where we stayed. Darayl, how did that happen?
Well, last
November, we went to Loreto looking for a place to stay. And we went to a lovely, lovely hotel. But then we looked at the prices. So we can't stay here. So let's go look some more. So Sandy and my daughter Donna, they went to every hotel in town looking for a hotel that was inexpensive enough and that had some kind of cooking area. And so they went here and there. We were there a week and we had to leave. But the last day, they went to this place that looked like this. It wasn't named the Loreto Hilton. It was named El Dorado. But that was a place that turned out to be just the place that God had for us. Price was right. And you already saw that the cooking area was fine. We had everything we needed, even the dishes. And the rooms were very good too. And you're not moving and I am.
Then you did some other stuff. What else did you do?
Oh, I was quite often the purchasing agent. There was a lovely, it wasn't Penelor's True Value or anything, but it was a nice place down the way that had almost everything you wanted. And one day they came to me and they said, we need a small saw. And I knew just where to find it. There it is right there. Well, and then the next day I had to get to work too. So my job was to take care of some things in the bathroom, but I had to wait for the floor to get down before I could do the part that goes with that. And then I put in the wash basin. It worked pretty good.
Right, Deanna. It's your turn. And she helped in the kitchen for many hours. Where's Deanna? There she
Right
is.
here.
Okay.
Well, this year I was the cook's helper, companion, partner. And if it wasn't for Lynette, I don't know what we would have done, but we managed to get things done for feeding 25 people. But it's interesting, even though we're in the background and not out there on the work site, that even there we can be an influence. Our hotel had 2 housemaids, one that came in the morning and one in the afternoon. The afternoon housemaid was Sylvia. Now, Sylvia just kind of observed and listened to us, and then her interest started perking up. So she sought us out, and she sought me out and wanted to know if she could get a Bible. She didn't speak any English, and I speak very little Spanish, but I figured out that's what she was asking for, so I approached Sandy. And so that was in the works then. So there was an influence there that we did not expect, kind of behind the scenes. It just goes to show God can work with you wherever you are, whatever you're doing.
Just to catch up with Sylvia, we have one of the members down there who are visiting Sylvia
Oh,
and
wonderful.
trying to set up some Bible studies with her, and she's willing. So pray for Sylvia, please. That's great. The clicker is not wanting to click exactly correctly. So I'm not sure what's going on. Maybe we're bad on battery, but we have Helmut who doesn't want. I think the batteries are low, but here's Helmut, and here he's helping with neighborhood bags. Where's Helmut? Did he come up? All right, Helmut. I appreciated Helmut so much because if we needed someone to drive, Helmut was always ready. I'll let him tell you. I call him the Uber driver.
I just tried to help out with the bags, with driving, with whatever. The bookmarks we did for bags, we set them up and try to make them inspirational and helpful commodity items too. So. Oh, it's my joke, Marlo. The only tip I got was a tope.
What is a topi? What did you deal with topis? What are those, Helmut?
Those are speed bumps. And they're just as big down there as they are up here, or bigger.
And some are bigger and you can't always see them coming, can you? Helmut was invaluable to our program there. All right, I wonder who this is back at the table enjoying some delicious food. Now did you see that?
That's my favorite. That was my
Okay,
favorite.
tell us about it.
So on Friday, we got to play soccer with the locals and see how good they were.
What about that food there? Where'd that come from? Did Asia make that food?
No, so every day the locals from the Loretto Church brought us a meal. And here is we could make our own mixed veggies and beans and rice. And then we can make our corn burrito type thing. Which that was my favorite meal. Then every meal was pretty good. Then I helped do some purchasing for the neighborhood bags, which you'll find some more of information from Linda, I think.
But you went to the store with me. Yeah, so get that mic back, please.
All right,
Because I have a picture of you here at the store. You
Yeah.
didn't know I had that, maybe.
I did. So I helped to get rice and sugar, I think.
Who paid for all of that?
I did some, and then you did some too.
Where did you get money to pay for?
So from our grandma, and we're supposed to give it to some kind of fund or something. Yeah, mission project or something.
Okay. But you had one thing that he wanted to do, and he wanted to go up on top where the guys were building the little house, the tiny house. There were no edges up there, just whatever they were building, right? But there was, he fall from the second story. So Sandy said, no, I'm sorry. But he didn't like that answer. So finally,
On Friday.
on Friday,
Afternoon.
the last day,
Yeah, the last day for us.
not
just
forgiving me for this.
I got to go up and help keep cement from drying up for them.
He got to go up. Mom and dad said he could go. So then it was their responsibility. And he was very careful and did not have any problems. And here he is. You can see that he's a bona fide bricklayer now. And as he gets older, he'll be doing a great job. All right. Thank you. It was great to have you along on our trip. Now, I believe there was some early morning walks. And I think Linda got to go on some of those and watch the sunrise. Beautiful, and they took some pictures. I think Stephanie took that picture, but I'm not sure.
So,
Diana.
yeah, in the mornings, we'd wake up at, well, it depended, sometimes 6:30, sometimes 6, sometimes 6:15, and we were about 2 blocks from the beach, and we'd walk, or I sometimes made pastor and some other people run with me, but I really enjoyed that, just watching the sunrise and walking. And then I also, Daniela, you'll hear some more about her from Stephanie, but so for VBS, we met her the second day, and she really just had this longing to learn English. And so I brought her over to the church, and I'd kind of say esta en English, and then I'd point to things, and then I'd ask her what it was in Spanish. And then one day we were planning to do some games with the kids, but no one came but her, and so we taught her the numbers in English and taught her a song to remember them. And so Danielle was just, she's that kid that you take home right away.
This is her picture, by the way, with Stephanie. Go ahead.
Yeah. And I know I wasn't, this is one other thing that the bathrooms there, no one was talking about the bathrooms there. Some of them are not that good. And at the church, it was amazing. The bathrooms were just stuccoed. But I didn't see the final finish, but from some pictures, they were nicely painted and tiled. I mean, before that, we had to yell and say, "Stay out, stay out." But
Because we didn't have a curtain, did we? What's
yeah.
going on in this picture? Can you see that?
I'm just messing around. But
Those are our neighborhood bags,
yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I was packing them in the cars.
What do you have there?
Those are Daniela's, somehow related to her. It's her grandma's we went to her house and took her a couple neighborhood bags. It was a lot further than we thought, but there were 5 puppies and they were so cute. I wanted to bring one home, but
Solomon, I heard they were willing to bring one for you, and somehow that got vetoed, I guess. I can't imagine
Yeah.
why.
yeah. But it took like 3 months. It took like
Okay, just really briefly, we did have here's your vacation Bible school. And Tricia already told you a lot about that, but Tricia, do you have any more that you want to share?
No, I think the big thing with VBS was towards the end. The first day, again, we went to people's houses. And so initially they were a little bit shy, but partway through the week they were, "You're coming back, you're coming back." And then on Friday, when we told it was our last day, we had people running up all over. And that day, school was out for everyone. So the kids that we missed in the morning or afternoon were coming around. And one specific guy was probably in a 13 or 14, was brought over by his friend. We thought that they came because they wanted to have some gift bags that we gave at the end. But they weren't coming for the gifts. They were coming because they wanted to sing songs. And the one boy wanted to teach the other boy a song. So we're out in the middle of the road with these kids just singing, and it was a wonderful experience.
Okay, Jim, I'm sorry, I got out of order here, but Jim was our prayer warrior. Where is Jim? There he is.
I'm hiding back here on the end, but yeah.
All right.
So we had quite a prayer list before we got very far through this trip, and that's a portion of it there. But I first of all want to say thank you. I know that there are a number of spouses who stayed home and some of us who got to go. And in my case, Denny covered for me while I was gone and in many ways. And that's a huge thing. I don't want to go past that because I wouldn't have been able to be there if she hadn't have offered to do that. And the phone rang. That's true. They had to come find me because I'd never hear it.
She was doing a wonderful job. Go
But
ahead.
yes, did awesome. But so thank you for all the spouses that supported through our trip there. So that was probably an answer to prayer right there, actually. And so another answer to prayer, I have to look at my list. Yes, we were working one day and we heard a big crash down below us. And then, you know, you're kind of holding your breath. What happened? What went wrong? Pretty soon we heard Ron say, I'm okay. I'm okay. And he had fallen off a ladder while he was painting. And he's not real young. I'm not sure what age he is, and he's a big guy. And he crashed on the concrete floor and ended up with a bandaged up elbow. Was really, I think, the only serious thing that happened. We felt like God really protected in that moment. It could have been much worse. So also the last working day, actually the Thursday before our last working day there, Tim and Clint, who were laying tile, had a prayer request for us that Thursday evening that we prayed about. They said, the tile that we're laying currently is very fragile. It cracks and breaks so easily. Said, we are down to the point, if we crack one more tile, we will not be able to finish the floor tomorrow. And Friday was our last day. So we had special prayer about that. They made it through laying that tile. They didn't break one more tile the next day, got the floor completed. And we praise God for that. That was a blessing.
That was over at the main church. They saw what a great job they were doing for us and wanted them to go over there, right?
Yeah, yeah. And I wanted to mention one more. Felipe that we was in the pictures earlier. He was suffering from renal failure, and Donna had told me this story that they had gone to visit after he'd gotten back from the hospital. He'd taken the ambulance ride over to the other city, and when he came back, they went and were talking to him, and Donna said, you know, you had 25 people praying for you. And she said he smiled a little bit when she said that. And she looked over at his wife and she was just beaming, realizing that there was prayer going up for him at that point. And, you know, we won't know maybe till we get to heaven what kind of a difference that might make. But unfortunately, he passed away just maybe a few days ago or something. We just got the word that he did pass away. So we don't know what the outcome is, but we're hoping we planted some seeds there that make a difference.
Before you sit down, Jim, I have a couple pictures here. Pastor told me he was learning how to mix concrete, and I see you there, so I'm guessing you're the one that taught him how to do this. Is that true?
He is a very fast learner. He
Okay.
did very well. And
All
he
right.
has, if he ever needs an alternate career, I think he could go right to work mixing mortar and supporting the block layers.
I wanted. And we're supposed to build a tiny house up here? I don't think so. The men got up there and they were trying to figure out how to do that. They didn't have a lot of leadership from the local crew, did you? Not much at all, although we had asked for that. But look at them. They did a great job. There's Jim, and look where those blocks are going. They're going straight up. Great job they did. He worked with Ben. There's Ben with him. They worked hard.
Ben and Tom and Pastor, we were kind of the team there.
In the sun, because there was no shade. They hadn't grown any trees up there yet, so they had no. Now Linda, okay. Linda was up. Thank you, Jim. Linda was up for some of those 6 a.m. adventures.
Oh, not as many as I needed to go to. One morning, a couple of people were faster than me and they left me and I got lost. Anyway, one of the main things that I did was work with the neighborhood bags. Most of us took 2 suitcases, a small one for our belongings and the larger one for all the wonderful things that all you wonderful people donated. Usually it was the other way around. That stuff went in a small suitcase. Not this year. We had lots and lots of stuff. The day after we arrived, Lynette and I sorted and counted all the stuff you donated, reason being so we knew how much to put in each bag. And then she and I and our junior partner over here went shopping to round out all the personal household items for the bags. Then on Thursday, Lynette and I and Sandy surprised the big store called La Bodega with a request for 100 bags or bottles of sugar, maseca, which is masa, beans, rice, and oil. And that was quite an order for them to fill. And on Friday, Lynette and I and Helmut set out all the contents for the bags. And Sandy had purchased brightly colored grocery bags, and we really needed those quality bags because these were heavy. And put out a little sign that says, start here. And they went down and picked up all the heavy stuff to put in the bags. And they came back down this way, and they went up the tables that way and down this way and over there. And finally, they got everything all put in their bags. Then on Sabbath, we went to church. We came home for dinner, and afterward, all the bags were already in the trunks of the cars. And we headed out over to Miramar, and we divided into pairs, and 2 pairs would go each street, each same direction. And a group took a whole bunch of bags for the VBS area. And we only had about 6 bags for each team, so it doesn't take very long. But one of the main things some people say, I don't need to do this. I don't need to put these bags together. Somebody else can do it. But it's nice to do it because for just maybe even a fleeting moment, you feel like you are connecting with people you may never see, you may never get to talk to or meet, but we're doing this to give them a taste of what it's like to be befriended by others that you don't know. I'm not saying this very well, but it's a part of being a Christian. It's a part of missions to reach out to other people, and it's our way of doing that. And the other thing is painting. So I broke it down. Much to do, limited time frame to do it in, 1 coat of sealer, 2 coats of paint, cover everything, inside and out, and the front wall, front and back. Third, paint while Sherman and Darayl are determining where to put the wires, holes for the wires, where to put the electrical boxes, and the drop ceiling, which was over the top of our heads. So they had to work over us, we had to work under them, and there was stuff everywhere. I felt really sorry for them. The 4th one was to paint around each other and all the stuff and under people and besides people and dodging people. And when we were in the major thoroughfare, I would go up with the pole and pull it in and people would walk by. And then I'd go down with the pole and I'd pull it in and people would walk by. We didn't have much room. And between the outside wall on the other side, you had about so much room. It was very interesting. And at one point, Ron was up at the top cutting in, and Stephanie was doing the window trim. It's recessed, but it's also behind unmovable bars. Stephanie's a real wizard at doing this. The hardest thing for me to paint was the back wall of the church. And Ron said, Linda, go on top of the building, where the guys were making the little house. And I'm thinking, oh, okay. And he said, extend out your pole and paint the building from the top, reach across 6 to 8 feet, and paint the building over there. And I'm going, okay. With the sealer, I was able to do it. I think I probably did most of the wall. But when it came to the paint, the roller was heavier, the paint was heavier, and it took 4 of us to get it done because I could hardly do it.
I think you got in trouble for doing that.
Were you looking?
Sandy came along and wasn't happy to stretch it.
Wasn't my idea. That's what my boss said. God protected us, and we We really had a good time, even though sometimes
If
we
he
weren't
fell down.
sure. Well, yes, he did fall down. I wasn't there that day. And he's,
Wow.
that was my boss, yes.
All right. Linda was a Minuteman. She would help wherever needed. She did a great job organizing 100 bags and putting all that stuff out. So we had the same thing more or less in each bag. Real quickly down, this is a side view of the church, and you see that pop-up tent there. I asked them if they had a pop-up tent before we went, and they said, yeah, yeah. Well, when we went to find it, it was a piece of plastic. I don't know what it was. I never even saw it. So we had to go buy one. But this is where they did the glasses ministry. They were reading glasses, and people could come, and a lot of people did come and tried to get something that would help them read better or do their needlework better. And they were very grateful. And how much do I owe you? No, it's free. There's no charge. All right, now here's this ceiling that we had to get up. And that's kind of hard to do. You see Stephanie in the background working. Got some of these out of order, but let's see what we got. Doesn't want to go. It sticks. I think we're running out of battery. That means.
Yep.
Oh, it is coming up. It's just not coming up here. So just you can see a little bit about Sherman. He was the one that worked with Darayl, and they finally got that ceiling up. They did a great job. And if you see those lights up there, all that had to be figured out ahead of time. You see the fan in the background where there are 4 fans, I think, and there are six fans, I think.
Anyone want to guess what the ceiling tiles were made out of?
Yeah, go ahead.
Styrofoam.
That's right. What it was. All right. So here you go. And you can see they did a fabulous job in there. Just working on this. Sherm. Don't know what we're doing here. Sherm was wonderful. One day I just came by the kitchen and was helping just a little bit. And Sherm came by, knew I wasn't feeling too good that day. He says, I can do that. Sure enough, Elaine taught him well. He knew how to shred the cheese. That was wonderful. One of my main jobs, there he is again, putting up lights. Every time I turned around, he had lights somewhere else. Worked hard. My main job was to translate. Here I am. You see the pastor just barely on your left-hand side. And there's Sherm listening. I'm trying to find out how the pastor wanted things done. Now, you can imagine a group like this, they could be really nice, but, you just never know what they're going to be up to. We had a problem with Sherm. If you know Sherm, he could be a problem. And sometimes you have to apply discipline, right? And I didn't know what to do with Sherm, so I decided we were going to make a jail. And sure enough, there he is. I told him I'd come and visit every day, and we took him food and water. Sherm was he was excellent. Worked so hard. I wish he was here today. All right. And there he is, getting in some more electrical. The tile work for the bathrooms and everywhere. They told us the floors were all ready, but that was not true. They had to scrape those down and get them all smooth. Tim is a master tile layer. He's not used to working on his knees anymore. That was back when he was younger. Now he does beautiful work in kitchens and all of that, but he made the sacrifice. And then there was Stephanie. Stephanie, tell us. There she is, down there.
So that's Daniela, my daughter. Just kidding. But yeah, like Izzy said, she was coming by for English lessons, and then the Krugers left after the first week. And so for the second week, she would come by, and it's like, who would connect with her and, give her encouragement and incentives to keep coming back. So Donna was hanging out with her a lot, but Donna was also working and I was working. But when I had an opportunity to, I would try to practice English with her, and she would teach me Spanish. And in doing that, we learned that she does not have a good home life, and there's possible abuse in her house. Of course, we were hearing this from her mother, and so that's only one side of the story, but we were hearing that there was physical abuse in the house and possibly worse. It was really sad. And it's hard not to cry during this story, but anyway, we would pray for her and her mother and her, for her father too, all the time. And the last day she came to church with us, which that's where that photo was taken, the piggyback ride. It was at the Loretto Church after Miramar Church opened. And she asked me in Spanish, she's like, "Are you guys leaving for good?" And I said, "Unfortunately, we have to go." And she started crying and sobbing and wailing. And then, of course, I was a mess. But one of the church members saw that. And so she came up to us afterwards and asked what was going on. And Donna and Sandy kind of explained, like, this is things that we've been hearing. And she said, "Well, what school the church member asked what school Daniela goes to?" So we told her. She's like, "No way, I'm a psychologist and I work at that school." It was an answer to prayer, and she's been meeting with Daniela. Of course, we can't know what's being discussed, but we know that she's being taken care of, and the church family has really been looking out for her. And it's just been amazing to see how God worked that. An instrument, so instrumental in connecting all of us to make that happen.
What else did you do, Stephanie?
I was a painter.
She
And
painted a lot.
I did paint a lot. I did a lot of cutting. So by the end of the 2 weeks, I was kind of like stuck in this position because I was right there. I'm doing the floor around the floor, but mostly it was over my head. So
On a good day, we had time to go out and do some fun things, and you fixed all the getting stuck situation.
So
oh,
about when Tuesday of the second week, people were getting really tired. They'd worked from early morning till late in the evening. They were getting tired. We planned a day off, and so people could go up to a little mountain village, or they could go see blue whales, or they could go ride the quads. What do you think Stephanie chose? And here she is. They're giving her
that's
good
actually
instruction.
Diane.
Oh, well, never mind, but
okay.
it could be you. All right. Anyways, I know they told her how to do. Mom and Dad, just don't even look at the next picture, because look at what happened to Stephanie. So we're pretty sure
I
this
didn't tell
picture
them
was
this,
staged.
so this is brand new information for them. But we went on ATVs, and I did fall off, and I fell like that, just like that. And the Haneys, Darayl Taney, came over, and he was trying not to laugh, and he's like, "Kid, are you okay?" And I said, "Yeah," and he's like, "Well, that's good. I wish I could have gotten a photo of that." So I went back down in the same position that I fell, and we took that photo.
And she was fine the next day because she was back painting
And there was
up on the ladder again.
cleaning paint that got on.
Now, this is a side of Stephanie that you don't know. I don't know if her parents even know this. I was
They're
friends
aware.
with Stephanie, but after that, I'm not sure, because that's kind of scary. So watch out if you're close to Stephanie. You don't want to meet her on a dark street. That's all I can say. All right, we're back to the VBS team, and I think Tricia already told us. Did you have any? What I don't understand is, in these little tiny cardboard almost houses, look at how the little girl comes out clean and bright and beautiful, ready for school. That is always so amazing to me. They wash their clothes and hang them on the fences, and then the dust and everything goes by, but somehow they come through nice and clean. And this is some of the kids that they saw. Anything else you needed to add, Tricia? Okay, these are some of the pictures. Here they are taking, this is Jim, I think, and Isabel taking a neighborhood bag.
That's what the boy meant. Barefoot.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah, we have much
stronger feet or calloused feet.
Yeah.
Better calluses than us for
So
sure.
the
Because there's walking to
VBS
that.
was not an easy thing, was it? You guys had to walk up some
We-
interesting places.
We did walk up some interesting
And-
places and fall down a few times. I think Donna did.
You saw that picture already.
And there were lots of dogs throughout. That is true. Lots of dogs.
Now, this place, tamales, and one evening we had tamales. I went with Donna to pick up the tamales. She felt bad because they were trying to sell tamales. I hadn't seen where the tamales were being made, nor did I tell the group where we got the tamales from. But you see the pan there and it's steaming and they pulled them. I watched them pull them out of there and you figure if they've been steaming for a couple of hours that probably it's okay. Nobody got sick, but this is where our tamales came with, guys, and this is what you ate. Nobody got sick. The people were very appreciative on the last day. This lady came to church and she brought to Shirley, who is our VBS leader, some needlework, and she brought some to Donna. Can you hold that up? And Donna gave me one of those. These people do fabulous needlework and they use them all around everywhere. It's just beautiful work that they do. All right. This is the pastor. This is Pastor Solomon. I worked with him. He had not much choice in this project. He arrived at the church. He has 6 churches, and he arrived about, I think, 2 or 3 months, maybe at the most, just before we were going. And so he inherited our group. This is his group of young people, and they came and carried blocks up one day, and I got to be one of the young people. See, I got to be in that picture with the young people. Tom, where's Tom?
Oh,
Tyler's next.
hey. So,
Oh, Tyler was first. No, it's Tom. It's Tom. Sorry. Tom, it's your turn.
so, one of the things that most impressed me about this trip, and I think, unlike the previous trip, I really believe God had a hand in where He placed us to stay, because the location was so central to so much of what we did, and it allowed us to greatly interact pretty much every day with members of that church family. And it was a great blessing. Yeah, right. Yeah, it was just too amazing to be able to spend that time with them and get to know them. And yes, indeed, pretty much every single night we went to the plaza to walk around and, of course, procure ice cream, which was a great thing. And, the nights were so mild there, but we always ran into Carlos and Candy and Carlita, who was a force, and that little girl would run all over laughing and giggling. And so really one of the biggest blessings of this trip was just getting to know these people, and leaving them was really painful because honestly, they just they just love you, and they just want you to be a part of their group, and you feel immediately included. And it was really quite the dynamic, and such a great church family. And that was just very impactful for me, and I think a lot of us. The other thing, we literally had no direction, and multiple times the guy who was in charge of this project,
Roberto Ramos. Hermano Ramos.
Ramos, yeah, he told us repeatedly that there's no plan. We'd ask where he wanted the windows or whatever. He's like, whatever. There's no plan. So in spite of having pretty much no direction, it's astounding that we got as far as we did. And, the quality of the work that we did was really good compared to the blocks that we'd worked with in the past. And I'm not going to lie, it was really hard because the neighbors started building walls right next to us. And 100%, I mean, you don't have to know blocks. You could look at the two and see the great difference in quality. And theirs went up enormously fast. So, you know, it was hard to watch the progress and see the quality of the blocks, which improved their progress. But I think that the work that we did was great. And I think that we got this church well on their way to getting this dwelling done. I think it's going to be really marvelous and a blessing for them. And yeah, the friendships that we have with these people, we still keep in touch with them. And it's just been so enormous. It was such a great thing.
Good job, Tom. That's what the picture says. They did a great job. They were not able to completely finish, but they did a marvelous job. All right, Pastor. No, we got Tyler first. We can't forget Tyler. Tyler was a little squirrely. You know, one day I didn't know if he was painting. I go another time and Tyler was doing something else. He liked to go around and help in all different places, and he was very good. He even helped the pastor one day sift some sand. Tyler, tell us about what you did.
A little bit of everything. I had a little bit of electrical experience, which we used to dig a ditch because when the thieves pulled out all the wire, they had conduit, it was plastic. And so we did probably a day and a half trying to get that wire through and we couldn't. So then we needed to dig a ditch. When the head painter went down, I kind of stepped in and tried to help keep that team going. And I got to do the fun things, playing soccer with the locals a little bit Thursday afternoon, Friday.
Tyler, what are you doing up on this ladder?
Trying to fall, probably. Yeah, they even had me help hang some of the
No.
ceiling tiles. Is that what that
No.
is? No. Am I texting? Oh, probably. Yeah, I don't know. I'm texting that. I don't
You
know.
know, if they don't give him a break, he's got to take advantage and text wherever he can because some things need to be answered.
Well, I should say I had enough Spanish that when Darayl was gone and Sandy was gone and all the other translators were gone, they were using me. And so I'm probably trying to text, where's Pastor? Or where's Sandy and Darayl? But during high school and college, I went on a number of mission trips, 3 of them to Mexico. And usually it was high school or college age kids with a few adult kind of supervisors. And what touched me with this group, and we usually had 2 or 3 projects. Usually there was like a building project, you did some painting, and then VBS. And when we went to the Philippines, it was mostly evangelistic. So we had meetings in the evening, and then we were going out doing Bible studies through rice paddies and stuff. But this trip, just what struck me was the numerous projects that we had going, from ceiling tiles to tile on the floor to painting to mixing concrete to VBS. And what I loved is that there's a camaraderie, you know, and Paul talked about in the body of Christ. The foot doesn't care what the eye sees, and the elbow doesn't care what the arm is doing. And so to me, there's an incredible appreciation. The people in the kitchen, they never ever really got to paint one stroke or do things, but they were so important because we got hungry at the end of the day. And so just that spirit of we're in this together, no matter what our job or task. And sometimes you would get pulled from one job to go do another because we need to move block, and so we just needed to form this timeline. And that, to me, I thought this is what God desires, that we don't fight for some position, but sometimes we sacrifice. I don't think anybody burned the beans because they had to, stir them. But it was just this great spirit of unity and camaraderie. And the final thing Isabella reminded me, little Daniela had built these bonds. And Friday, she had told them, we're having Flag Day, which is a big thing in Mexico. And we had understood she had a couple little cultural dances, and she invited us to come. And the response, we're so sorry, that's Sabbath school, we're not going to be there. And I wasn't there, but the face just kind of like went down. And so we talked and prayed. And I have always learned when you're somewhere else and people invite you, that's an open invitation to growing deeper. And so some of us said, hey, can we miss the first part of Sabbath school, but come? And so we were there and we waited and waited. But finally, when she was done and she was coming, and we said, Daniela, you did so good. Just that smile on her face, and we gave her hugs. But it's like, for her, we were trying to tell you are important, you're loved, but that is what God does for each one of us. And then when the locals asked us to play volleyball Sabbath night, and we were tired, but I said, Jim, you're a volleyball player. The few of us went, and just being able to interact on their level and in their space, to me, bridges those bonds of we're all here for one reason. That's because we love Jesus. So would I do it again in a heartbeat? Do I hope my kids can go again? Do I hope this isn't Sandy's last one?
We're praying about that. All right, but I carried something down in my suitcase really briefly because people want to go eat. But really briefly, just tell them really quick what you did there. Look at this picture if you see
So
it.
the school had someone donate a bunch of balls, and that part of me, I know soccer or football is always important, and I'm going, hey, I'm sure the youth could enjoy a few things. And we actually found out that a lot of them play in a basketball league. They do stuff. So we had deflated a bunch of balls and packed them amongst and brought a little pump. And so we weren't there, but I think the last Sabbath night they presented them to the youth and said, hey, use these, have fun for the glory of God.
That was great. The kids were so happy. I had a picture of the whole group, everybody holding them. They were so happy. Did a Vespers one Sabbath evening, had a little bonfire.
Pastor Solomon
Pastor.
does take his volleyball serious, though I just have to say that.
All right, last but not least is the pastor.
I want to sneak in something before you speak. So I can't express enough my gratitude for the work that the pastor did. The man is a machine. So you can look at him sitting here and you would never know, but that dude hauled so much mortar. And that stuff is unbelievably heavy. And not only did he just haul it, he had to carry it up a spiral staircase to the roof. So it wasn't easy. It was difficult work. And keeping up with the demands and trying to regulate how much to make, it was just really incredible. And he was such an incredible asset to us and such a blessing. Like, we really could not have done this job without his help and his hard work. I mean, seriously, you probably had to have gained at least 10 pounds in muscle because the dude just kept hauling mortar up, and it was just, that stuff is heavy, and it was hard work for him, and it was just so helpful. So appreciative are we of your hard work. It was awesome. Thank you.
Yes, he was.
Hold it.
Yeah. So the first day when we arrived, and the mission president you see on the left and the treasurer on the right, on your right, yeah. I gave them one of the little, or pastor gave it to them. I explained that he was the one that wrote this. So they hurried back in and wanted a picture with the pastor. So he's getting famous, and they wanted this picture. He was up at 6 to go on those walks. I don't know, Joan, he found another friend down there, but I guess it's okay. So he learned how to do the concrete, and I think Jim thought he did a good job because I didn't see Jim back down there helping him anymore. And what the people are saying right now is very true. And he always had that smile, and he was mixing the concrete. He also helped hang blocks. Pastor, I need to tell you something that you probably guessed, but you haven't heard this, but there were a few rumors around. Well, I wonder what, and not necessarily from our group, but people were happy a pastor was coming, but they wondered if you were going to be able to really do any work there. And I said, we'll just wait and see, right? And sure enough, as Tom said, he was a machine. Now this ditch, what did it take you, 2 days? 2 days?
A day and a half. Tyler and I worked together.
Relentless. He just worked and worked. I'm going to let you talk, Pastor, but I just had to show these pictures because of what Tom is saying. I wanted you to realize. Now, see, there's the buckets that Tom's talking about. He's coming. Remember that spiral staircase you saw with the kids on it? What with me, because I'm young. He had to carry these buckets. Now, I didn't know you were doing that, Pastor. I truly did not know that till I saw this picture. See the arrow that's full, that bucket is full of concrete. I would have asked Tom if he wouldn't carry some of those for you, but I didn't know. And I don't know why he didn't volunteer. And then there then there was your dad, and I thought maybe he should have volunteered to carry some of those, but he didn't have enough to do. Go ahead, Pastor, it's your turn.
Thank you for the opportunity of coming on the trip. It was a blessing to be there. I know you've asked 11 times before that, and this was the first time I did go. And thank you, Joan, for your encouragement and help with that as well. I did enjoy every part of it. I loved the teamwork, the camaraderie, the working together.
What did he have to say when he talked to you? The end of hard days, or you're not supposed to tell? Okay, he didn't complain. All right.
So when the president did come, and you mentioned about the love letter from Jesus. A year ago, we had the Compelling Love Ministry had donated 500,000 love letter tracts to the Northern Mexican Union. So they were familiar with that. And then he was excited to see the book as well. I was able to share 4 presentations based upon the Compelling Love of God book with the translator, Jason. I did a very good job. And something that was thrilling to my heart, Jason and then another fellow, Marcos, both said that we should get this translated into Spanish. And so that project did get started. I don't know where it is in the process, but Jason's uncle is a translator. And but before that, Marcos, who'd been an Adventist for about 5 years, was baptized there. He said, this message is life-changing. And so he wanted to translate it. So he downloaded all the chapters and used AI to translate it into Spanish. And he said, it actually did a pretty good job. Artificial intelligence is what that was. And then he was going back and going to do some final editing and then give it on to Jason to send it on to the uncle. I'm hoping that that does happen because there have been requests for it to be in Spanish.
I heard from Jason this week, and as you know, they are working on that. So go ahead, Pastor.
One of the things that I also was impressed by was the co-encouragement, the encouragement of the church down there to us and us to them. It was a huge blessing. And they have a lot of young adults that are very active, trying to be a blessing to that community, and they're planting this other church that we built. So this is the second church in that community. And it looks like it's going to be doing well.
And you didn't have enough to do, so you wanted to sing with Jim and his group. So there he is at one of the meetings. And then what happened here? The last evening that you were presenting, did you bring your shirt?
Yeah, put it up.
Maybe that was on Sabbath? Okay, Isaac said that was on Sabbath.
So the pastor, out of appreciation for the meetings I gave, he gave me this shirt. Now it has pictures of a whale, and this is the blue whale. In Loreto, February and March, the blue whales are in that part of the ocean. And so one of the activities was going to see the blue whales, which we had a chance to see. And so I was gifted this shirt.
And if you didn't have enough to do in the daytime, after supper, sometimes he would be found visiting with one of them. And of course, you can guess what book he's got there. But he also had time to wash dishes in the kitchen. So we did appreciate the pastor. We're going to skip this slide. The last day we said there's still a lot of needs here, and what's the most important with the little bit of money we have left. So we were trying to figure out where we should spend our money. But all good things come to an end, don't they? And you are probably happy that all good things come to an end. Could Mission Adventure accomplish all of these? We did. We did it all. Praise to the Lord and our church family, because You all were an integral part of that. We were able to get everything done that we went down to do. And so this is Friday afternoon. They rented some chairs because the main church was going to come and be with us on that Sabbath. Someone in the group said, we need some chairs for the kids. And so they had ordered some on a Mexican Amazon, and they arrived Friday afternoon. And here we are. We were so excited. And that's Carlos. And Sabbath morning, there were a lot of kids there in their brand new room, tiled floor, swept out, and a beautiful room. And special music wanted to play that for you, but we do not have time. Look at the youth on your right-hand side, I guess that is. Lots of youth and active. These kids are active. They work hard for the church. And then they had a special time for us. See that they're holding some chains, and those are prayer requests that came in from VBS, Tricia, right? You had the kids write down their prayer requests. We took them to the church and had a special prayer for those prayer requests. And then they wanted to thank us. So the mission president had sent special thank you, a certificate for us. And there I got to be the recipient of that. So Pastor, I have that here. I want to give that to you. I got to hang on to the mic. So this is, would you read that to the church family, please? I'd like them to know what it
Ay,
says.
con mucho gusto. La Iglesia Adventista del Séptimo
No,
Día.
no, no, no.
¿Cómo?
Yeah.
Okay. The Seventh-day Adventist Church from the Baja California Sur Mission gives this present, this act of recognition to Mission Adventures for their valuable support and participation in the construction of the church in Miramar in the city of Loreto, Baja California Sur, Mexico, the 2nd of March, 2024. Signed by Juan David Garcia Ramirez, the president, and by Abraham Murillo de Gracia, Secretary Treasurer.
All right, Pastor, this is for you. I don't know what you're going to, where you're going to hang that, but maybe it will find a place in our new church, I hope.
Talking about appreciation, the mission team has been very appreciative of the core team that have been going every year that's made it happen. Darayl and Sandy, Helmut and Azure and Deanna, been a core team, and there's an appreciation gift that the team is wanting to share with you at this time. Look over to your right.
So we got a few goodies here. Deanna, you worked really hard and we appreciate it. And I thought maybe you would like this little pussy willow tree. You could use it at your house here, or maybe you could take it down there. It's not a miniature, it's just a baby. It's going to get about 6 feet tall. So it's really nice. And Azure and Helmut, we thought maybe that you would like a climbing hydrangea. And I thought it would get about 8-10 feet tall, but then I looked at the label and it says 85 feet tall. So maybe you can figure out what to do with it. And then over here we have this tree. And this, I was wishing that it had flowers, but not yet. This is a hydrangea tree, and this is for the Larsens. And we just really appreciated these folks and the amount of hours that the Larsens put into this is in.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I even got a hug from the pastor. We were good friends by the end. So here's the beginning where we started. This is how they finished the tiny house. And when we finished, does it look better? They will finish up the tiny house on their own. Got a text this week that they're starting to work on the tile in the main sanctuary, which we bought for them. They got a little sign up even. So thank you to our church family. You have been wonderful in supporting us, and we're going to let you go have lunch as soon as Where's Jim? We're going to sing, hopefully. Oh, and our multi-talented Stephanie, who now knows how to ride quads and who now knows how to paint and knows how to do all kinds of things. But be careful. Remember that. But she has made a video, and after that, we're going to sing our closing song.
Here I am, send me, Isaiah 6:8, was the theme of our trip from February 18 to March 3, 2024 in Loretto. You're probably wondering where Miramar is. It's a subtown of Loretto, as you can see by following this map. It's pretty much on the outskirts. Now, this is what the church looked like when we got there. Pretty plain, but at least there was a building. There was still quite a lot of work to be done, and we couldn't wait to get started. But before we could do that, we had to settle in at our hotel, which was called the El Dorado. It was a pretty nice home base for the entire trip. This is where we would start and end our days, and the hosts there were just super hospitable. When we would start our days, we would go on these morning walks around 6 a.m. The views are spectacular. We'd get back by 7 for delicious breakfast prepared by the kitchen staff. Then we would have a worship service with music and devotional thoughts.
What are we doing? I got a plan.
We've Got Our Plan was our secondary theme to this trip, because even though a lot had been done since work first started in 2021, the road ahead was going to be quite difficult. As Pastor Solomon is explaining here, the electrical had gotten pretty messed up in between trips, and so we had to completely rewire things, and fortunately Sherman and Darayl were on it. They were the electrical and roofing crew, along with Tyler, who helped them with that, and he also helped with painting. He was kind of on top of everything when he wasn't yelling at dolphins. Ron Tilley oversaw the painting crew, and he also helped with blocks. Izzy was a big part of the painting crew. I did a little bit as well, and Linda really stepped up and helped us there during the second week. The first week she was busy putting together all these neighborhood bags, which went out to the neighborhood in Miramar, which also was part of our VBS community. Trisha and the whole Kruger crew were really instrumental in doing this. It really changed a lot from when it first happened back in 2019. They just met outside. Shirley oversaw all of this. She made sure that it ran smoothly, and Donna was there to assist with translations and also some work when needed. This is the Eyeglass Clinic with Rhonda Tilley and Diane Haney. Diane Haney also was part of our media crew. Darayl helped translate, and he also helped with plumbing and translations and money, and he was kind of doing everything along with Sandy. They were our heads during all of this. Without them, we would have been really lost. And they just stepped up wherever needed. They were kind of doing everything, and because of that, they're very much appreciated. Now, to get from place to place, we were using cars, 6 cars, and that was overseen by Helmut. He was our head of transportation. Helmut also stepped in and helped with the painting crew sometimes and the neighborhood bags. Meanwhile, Pastor was doing a 4-day sermon series, and then he came and helped for the block and roofing team for that apartment going above the church. That was a lot of hard work. He's a hard worker. Jim was overseeing the apartment team, and there were a lot of hot days out there, but I don't think he ever once complained. I never heard him complain. He's a tough guy. Even Tom worked, surprisingly, and he even did it in the sweatshirt. He's kind of crazy. But you know what? He did a good job. He worked with Ben, and Ben was very good with laying the blocks as well. Now, Clint helped Tim lay the tile, and Tim just did an amazing job with the tile work. He's a perfectionist. And when they weren't doing tile, they were also leading out in music. It was awesome. We had delicious lunches prepared for us by the local Adventist family there. They were delicious. We really miss this food and wish we could eat this every day, but alas. Now, the Krugers also bought us these ice cream bars afterwards with Isaac and Izzy's money, so that was pretty cool. When they weren't helping us at the building site, they were playing with the kids, playing soccer, and just being good neighbors to them. Back at home base, Deanna and Asia were keeping everything afloat along with Lynette, and they just made sure that, we were staying fed, we were staying maintained, and preventing us from getting too grumpy, which was really good because after that we were able to go socialize with the Loretto family and we saw their basketball team play. We got to hang out with them, eat ice cream with them afterwards, even though we had ice cream bars in the afternoon. It was pretty great. We made some great relationships with them. Now, we finally finished the church, and it was pretty exciting. Everything was painted. The electrical was done. The plumbing was done, and the apartment was mostly completed. And we were just really excited to dedicate this building to God and to see what would come on opening day. Opening day came, and it was just beautiful to see the building filled with God's children worshiping together, and we're just so happy to see God's working among them, and we pray it continues.